Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. We have rebranded. We were Cricket Field End. We have now sort of branched out on our own. We're now probably brother and sister, but a brother and sister that clearly like to stay away from each other. But yeah, welcome to Turf Moor-House TV.
I wondered where you were taking that, mate. I really wondered where you were taking that.
Chris, honestly, after some of the stuff you said about Burnley, I thought I was waiting for some sort of brother or sister six-finger comment, so don't worry about it. But yeah, welcome to the channel. Obviously, we have Joey, our Burnley fan, who you'd recognise from the end of the season podcast against Sheffield United. Hope you're well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good to be back. Good to speak to you again.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And then we have Leicester Mad Chris. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much. Still celebrating the FA Cup win.
Oh, I bet you are. I bet you are. I tell you what, enjoy it. Absolutely enjoy it.
Mate,
and we also have another Chris. How are you, Chris? You all right, pal?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, man.
Good stuff. So you a Liverpool fan?
Yep.
Yeah, well, we'll obviously it's good to have you in because you can give us obviously a bit more of an insight into what's gone on recently as well. So as people can see from the name of the video, obviously what came out earlier today regarding the Super League settlement, it's well, what shall we say? It's a bit of a joke, isn't it, guys?
Yeah, you don't have to say at least. It's a disgrace, isn't it? Absolute kick it, TV. It's not a punishment.
No.
I've got to be honest with you. I was thinking about this because how do you punish them without punishing the fans? I mean, when it first came to light, what might happen? We're thinking we'd have loved a points deduction. Don't get me wrong, because that meant we'd have been in the Champions League and Chelsea and whatever would have dropped out. But then, yes, that punishes the clubs because they don't get as much financially from the Europa League as the Champions League. But then is that also not punishing the fans? And this shouldn't be about punishing the fans. So I think you have got to fine them, but I just think the amount's a joke.
Yeah. I mean, what's your thoughts on it, Chris? Because obviously being a Liverpool fan and everything that's gone on, it must have hurt even to see your club try to want to escape. And then obviously all this has come about. I mean, I'm fortunate I couldn't find a Spurs fan because they're probably crying because the money that's being taken from them, that's their transfer budget gone, isn't it, really?
Yeah, what I think about it, I think it's kind of ridiculous that how we've been fined so less. I think, how much is it? Like, the total amount is 20 million and it's 5 per club, I think, something around that. And did you remember in the championship when Sheffield Wednesday breached the sustainability regulations? They got they got a 6 point, maybe more, deduction in the start of the next season, and they only got relegated by 1 point. And then we have 6 clubs who want to basically make no competition. There's no competitiveness for Champions League sports anymore, and then they get like 3.5 million in fines, which is completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, 3.5 million between 6 clubs. It's a pittance. It's pocket money. It's not even pocket money. It's petrol money to these guys. It's topping the car up. It's I think it's a bit ludicrous, really.
The thing I think is it is 20 million between the 6 of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, if you, and I agree with totally what you're saying there, Dan, but if you had charged Man City, let's say, for example, 20 million, that's still only petrol money to them.
Well, yeah.
I mean, this is what we've got to consider. And like I say, I just think I always thought that whatever happened, it was going to be more a case of, look, we're trying to do something rather than something that's really going to punish them. Because I think the biggest punishment that these clubs have had is from the fans.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the thing is, though, it also goes back to that as a fan. Like, I'll ask you, Chris, because obviously, being the Liverpool supporter, would you understand if there was a bigger repercussion? If it was a case where Liverpool received a points deduction, would you? I'm not saying would you be accepting of that, because obviously I don't think any fan would. They don't want to see that happen. But because of what's happened, would you be all right with that? Especially for a club of your size, you know, losing 15 points. Okay, it sort of, you know, it sort of breaks everything up and, you know, messes with things. And you wouldn't have been as close probably this time round of getting into the Champions League. But yeah, how would you feel about that if it was to be a points deduction? Just quick hello to Rich as well, please. He's in there. And Melina, hope you're all well. And congratulations on getting into university and enjoy London.
Scary thing is, she's only 2 hours away. I'm going to have to move. might have to come back up to Burnley. That's a bit further away.
So go on, Chris. How would you feel about
that? Obviously, I wouldn't like it, but I think it would be well deserved, because what they did was unacceptable. And the worst part is that the Liverpool and United and Arsenal owners were the biggest supporters of it. Like, they were the main three in the Premier League. I think Levy and Chelsea they just joined in because they didn't want to be left out. I think that's why, right? So I wouldn't actually mind a points deduction, because we would completely deserve one. As I said in the previous example, I said Sheffield Wednesday, because they weren't in the profitability or something like that, sustainability rules, -6 points, and that's how they got relegated.
Yeah, it's bad. I think they're being put under another points embargo this coming season as well, Sheffield Wednesday, if I'm led to believe. Yeah. But it's mad because, again, you look at a team like Sheffield Wednesday. Now, if they was up in the Premier League, they'd probably still be classed as one of the big clubs because of, you know, what they had in the heyday. Like, the same with Leeds, the same with Newcastle, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why they still get branded like that, but they do. Honestly, I wish somebody would take that cattle grid firmly off their backside and just tell them, look, you're normal like the rest of us. Stop punching above your weight. Yeah, Leicester, I'm not talking to you.
No. Do you you not think that this big, and it pees me off, this big six all the time, because, you know, Arsenal, no disrespect to Melina, Arsenal haven't been a big six club. Man United haven't been a big six club for a couple of seasons. They're coming back now. Liverpool weren't a big six club for many seasons. It's Sky that have labelled them as big six clubs because of the revenue they can get, because more people will watch Arsenal Tottenham on the TV than would watch Leicester Burnley on the TV worldwide. And that's where the big six has come from. And I think, unfortunately, some supporters, not all of them, but some supporters start to believe their own publicity.
Yeah, it is hard. It is difficult. Yeah, I know. I'll pull that up.
I think you were in the second tier of English football once, weren't you? And I think a couple of seasons under Van Gaal and all those, you were in the top six. You know, you've and before you actually had Ferguson, I think you had many years of not winning much. So yeah, you've been there, Rich.
Every club's been there, even Liverpool in the 60s. I mean, after World War II, we were in the second division. So,
well, that's what I mean. You look at that, and you know, back in those days, like me and you, Joey, weren't around for it, but you know, Burnley were big time in the 60s, and you know, they were winning leagues and stuff, you know, top division, and obviously, you know, the tables turn, but we're not asking to break away. We're not. You know, to be fair, we can't even break even, let alone break away. I don't know what that's
where the term Big Six comes, in my opinion, is Like
Can you break
not only
wind?
revenue, the globally how big they are as well. Because if you see the top six have fans all around the world, they have. I mean, Man United have and Liverpool have one of the largest fan base in world football itself. So that's another way, the big six.
Yeah, it's been it's been a strange one because I will admit something, Chris, that obviously when I do my end of season review, I did it 3 games prior to the end of the season, and obviously you was pretty much just on the start of your outstanding run.
Mm-hmm.
So what I said you'd finished as, and what I actually said has happened, and what's happened, is 2 different things. But obviously, taking it back to this thing, you know, I've put a few points down of what would have happened, you know, with everything that's gone on. It would have caused fixture congestion. It would have been demeaning to the other 14 clubs. It's anti-competition. There'd be a reduction of TV deals because they'd have all wanted to sort of let's get the big games on. Reduction of sponsorship.
It would also ruin the lower divisions as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can see that the lower divisions aren't. There's not enough money filtering down the pyramid. There's not enough of that as it is already.
It's already horrible with the big six still there as well.
Yeah, and I think that's what annoys me is the fact that you've got teams like Bury, Blackpool, Wimbledon that have had to restart again. Darlington that went out of business.
Derby need a takeover, I think, in the championship.
Accrington.
Yeah,
Accrington.
yeah.
And Notts County.
If it weren't for a milk ad, they'd have been buggered.
Notts County, Notts County in
It
League
was
Two.
Burnley that buggered them, wasn't it?
And we also saved them as well when they came around with little buckets.
Yeah, I think. I mean, the funny thing is, I live down, and I'm a Leicester fan, obviously, but I live down here in Bournemouth. And talking of buckets, 10 years ago, when I came first down here, Bournemouth players and management were outside the Pavilion Theatre with buckets, collecting money because their team had been deducted 19 points, and they were in the 4th tier, and they were literally that close to going out of business. 10 years later, they're in the Premier League. You know, had Leicester not won the Premier League that season, Bournemouth would have been the story because they'd just come up that season. That's what football is all about. And something that Chris too said earlier was the 3 clubs that were doing it, really pushing, Liverpool, Man United and Arsenal, all owned by Americans. And it was that American idea. I mean, you know, the Americans, they have, you know, what is it, baseball World Series, but they only play it in America. But it's the World Series, you know. That's the, you know, it was the American dream and ideal and plan, I think, that was being pushed here.
Yeah, I mean, we can sort of join the crew, sort of, if you as to speak now, because obviously we've got American owners, but ours have been pretty decent so far. What's that, Joey?
We're on reserve list. We're classed as 7. Like when they make it big 7, we're in there. We got Americans.
Yeah, there'll be a completely different video when that comes about. But yeah, it's as you say, this ruins football, and I think it just goes to show what's happening, and this will come round again. I think we can all see that it will come round again. They will try and break away again. There will be some sort of, you know, like I say, 20 million between 6 clubs is pathetic. Absolutely
especially
pathetic.
The richest ones.
Yeah. I agree. It's like I've said a few times now, Chris, as well. I've said a few times that, to be fair, the ones that were still saying, "Oh yeah, let's go for it," relegate them. You know what? It might be really harsh. It might be really, really harsh. But Juventus got relegated when they had all the trouble. Rangers, the same, when it was financial trouble and things like that. So, these are 2 big clubs in 2 different divisions. So why? Because they're a big club in the Premier League, which is all high and mighty and spoke about. It's just absolutely pathetic. You know, Rich has come in and said, World Series, they let a Canadian team in, but that's it. And
It's
Box
like
has said the punishment was expected. Yeah. The punishment was expected, to be fair. If I wasn't a fan of the Big Six, I'd be pissed off, though. And fair enough, yeah.
I know what you're saying
Joey,
there,
prepare
Dan.
yourself.
Now, I know what you're saying there, Dan, but, you know,
Hi, baby.
you've
All
got...
right. Love you. I'll be in trouble if I don't.
I still say, what the relegated Rangers, what did that achieve? Nothing. It just handed the title to Celtic for however long. And I still say the people that got punished there were the fans of Rangers, and it was the fans of Juventus. And we would be hurting here, the fans of Man United, the fans of Arsenal, the fans of these 6 clubs, Liverpool, and it wasn't their fault. And I just think, you know,
yeah, but it weren't the fans' fault as well, Chris. You know, when with people like Bury, they were the ones that a team like Bury that were, you know, it comes to Christmas time, a bit of snow falls, and they're literally volunteering to clear the pitch to get a game on because they're that eager to see some football, and yet, you know, you wouldn't see people turning up at Old Trafford to clear it if you know, system went down and under soil heating weren't working. The only time they go in is to give Glazers a bit of shit.
And the maids round to do it, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, oh massively. They'd probably get Ryan Giggs just running around like an headless chicken, seeing if he can eat pitch up.
No, he'd be in the changing room shagging somebody, wouldn't he? Allegedly. I just don't think whatever happened, there was not going to be a punishment that would please everybody, and I just don't think, because this was all about the fans, you know, and you know, all credit to the fans of the so-called Big Six that they demonstrated the way they did, and I just don't think it's fair. And I'm saying this as a Leicester fan because let's face it, we would have been one of the teams that would have benefited from a points deduction or kicking them out of the Champions League, like I said. But I just don't think it's fair to punish the fans. And no, it's not fair. The fans of Bury, I mean, I worked in Bury for like 2 years when I was living in Burnley. And I've been to the ground and I saw a couple of evening matches there. And I think it's disgusting. But you know, it would have got even worse had this gone ahead because, of course, the smaller clubs would have been suffered more. But I just don't know what the right answer would have been. I don't think there was anything that would have pleased everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Box is saying. The fan anger has died down quite a lot. We can notice that, and I can understand why United fans are protesting because, you know, it's not just that. It's this. They're not, you know, repairing the stadium with the leaking roof. They're not doing anything in terms of, you know, they're not doing things off the pitch as well as on the pitch. They just want to reap reward, and for what, basically. So I can understand Man United fans' frustration. Yep, love you too, Zoe.
Do you two want to get a room of your own?
This is Joey's missus, so.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah.
I thought he was being quiet.
Yeah, he's on his best behaviour because she's watching.
Yeah, but she's not here though, is she? That's the difference.
Hey, that's true. And I can only see top half at cameras. Joey should behave. But
yeah,
no,
got a smile on his face.
Look, no hands.
What do you think's holding my phone up?
I've never had it called a selfie stick before, but then yet again, I've not had the length of a selfie stick, so
It's going Leicester,
more like a broken breadstick.
What about the supposed imposed sanctions if they try it again? Do you not think they're actually forcing them to say, look, if you are going to do this again, you go and do it and you don't play it? So I believe it's 25 million per club and a 30-point deduction. If you give them then, they are just going to naff off, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, because they're not going to take. If they are going to leave, what's the 30-point deduction? The 30-point deduction is not going to come into play. You know what I mean? If they do eventually leave, and the fact that exactly, and the way that it's done this time, what are they going to do? You know, I'll let you come in, Chris, with what you were going to say there. Sorry.
Technically, the Super League still hasn't died. If you didn't know that, it's the if you know Juventus, Barcelona, and I think Real Madrid, they are actually UEFA are going want to ban them from competitions and give them punishments, but but these three clubs are going through the courts, and the courts say they have no grounds. UEFA have no grounds to punish them.
Yeah, it's just getting silly. To be fair, I wanted to put a video out earlier when it was sort of like, quite high on the rift of everything going on. But as soon as I saw this today, I just thought how cheeky that most clubs are getting fined behind closed doors, but to be sat in a room with,
I just saw an update on Twitter, by the way. Sorry to interrupt. If UEFA didn't suspend the sanctions against Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Juventus, UEFA President Catherine would have been arrested. This is because UEFA received an official Swiss court order telling them to immediately suspend sanctions. And this comes from the journalist that broke out the Super League news, Tariq Punjab, New York Times journalist.
right. Christ, I mean, I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, don't worry about this. This is just so that the clubs in the Premier League are sweet now. That's it. It's all over. Give us a bit of money and it's all over." But I still think it undermines the problem. It's almost like being told, at the doctors, "Oh, sorry, you've got cancer, but we're going to give you paracetamol," sort of thing, and hope that you get better. It's not. It's difficult. You've got to give them the right treatment, but you can't call them into a room and all sit there and say, "Right, come on, guys, you tell us how we should punish you for what you did." You wouldn't do that to your kids, would you? If they'd just turn around and say, "Give us 20 quid and tell me that I can go back out and I'm not grounded." And that's technically what they've done. They've sort of bullied their way back into being all right, and yet they'll think, "Oh, this is next to nothing." Like I say, unless you Spurs or Arsenal and your transfer budget's gone, but that's it. Now it's a case of it. I understand people. I understand where people are coming from. Right, the incident with the Premier League, that's fine. There's a line drawn under it, a bit of money, but there's also now got to be a repercussion between those clubs and UEFA. There's got to be because that's where the biggest problem probably lies. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but
you're going to have to make it clear which Chris you're speaking to, because I don't think I know.
No, either or, all just chirp in. I mean,
you know something? Would it have? I get a feeling with this. Yeah, we know it's probably is going to come back. Maybe not for a couple of years, but it will come back. And it's going to be a bit like, the Scots and the, wanting independence. Well, we get to the point now where I'm just saying, F off and get on with it then. If you want it that badly, go and do it. So say to these 6 clubs, if you want to do it, go and do it. As a Leicester fan, would we miss Man United, Arsenal, Spurs that much? No. We would. You'd form different, derbies, if you like. You'd form different, big games. Oh God, we've got to beat this team. We've got to beat this team. And sorry, Brendan ringing me for advice. But no, and at the end of the day, give it a couple of years, and we wouldn't miss them. I really don't think we would. Yeah, we might lose a bit on the TV money, but are you going to, as much as I like to watch Leicester Burnley because I've got that, allegiance with Burnley, but would I want to watch it once a month? No. And they'll soon get bored of watching the same teams. Oh, and away games, can fans afford to go and follow it? But if they're going to do it, they're going to do it. I wish in some ways they'd just piss off and get on with it.
Yeah, because that's another thing where you see fans, they be interviewed by the TV programs and things like that. And they say stuff like, "I never thought I'd see my team in a Champions League final. I'm gonna rinse the bank account. I'm gonna make sure I'm there," and things like that. You're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get people rinsing bank account, maxing cards out to see the team in a final. I'm not saying that people should get themselves into debt or anything here, but what I'm saying is that as an avid fan, as a massive supporter, you would do everything in your power to be there and witness that final. So, you know, and not just a final, even just to be part of, oh my God, we've made the Champions League. I'll go to a game with the group stages. I'll get to experience all the shaking of the giant football, you know, just everything. Even if you just take it down to the little bits of the people shaking gigantic Champions League badge at middle at half, you know, centre circle, and the music as they come out and everything. It's the whole element of it just disappears and dissolves, and people don't seem to think that those little bits mean anything. But hearing that music, hearing your team walk out to that music, Christ, you know, even when I hear Burnley walking out on FIFA to Champions League for music, you know, I get a little bit excited. I get a little bit excited, but you know,
what was the better story as a football fan? And I'm not just saying, I'm not, you know, being sarcastic, but what was the better story as a football fan? Leicester winning the FA Cup and the scenes that you saw after and what it meant to us as a club, or Chelsea winning the Champions League again, you know, or Man City winning the Premier League again? I know, without being big-headed, most fans would turn around and say Leicester winning the FA Cup, because that's what anybody outside of those 6 clubs, and probably even Arsenal and Tottenham now, that's what they dream about. You know, is having the chance to do that. I've watched my club in League One, you know, funny enough, playing Man City, could you believe? But, you know, and it's that. And I've been saying, I can remember what, you know, Bournemouth fans were doing, like I said earlier, and it's that dream. And us winning the FA Cup, us winning the Premier League, it gives other teams the chance to dream. And if the Arsenals and the Man Cities and what have you don't want to be a part of that, to be honest with you, fine, we'll get on without you. Gives everybody else a chance then, doesn't it?
Yeah, so, I mean, the question's open here, but Box has said, what do you make of the 30-point deduction for future breakaways?
I think it just forces them out of the league, doesn't it? If you're going to break away, you're going to go proper and you're not playing it, because they're not going to want to stay with a 30-point deduction either.
No.
I think I said before that I'm not happy with points deductions because it hurts the fans. But that said, this is a warning that if you do it again, it's not sort of a points deduction now. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. And I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name. I do apologise. The husband. You know, like he said, if it forces them out, it forces them out.
Yeah. As I say, it's oh God, what am I doing here? Losing it. You know, I agree again with what Boxer said. Is the 20 million going in the back pocket of UEFA? If it's not, it's probably going into Seb Blatter's retirement fund and whatever else. It's filtering its way through somewhere.
What's going to the back pocket of UEFA is the 5% of revenue cut for all the teams that were involved from European competitions.
What's that? So there's 5% going back into UEFA.
Yeah, I don't know what happens, but it's probably going back to the UEFA. But the clubs who are involved in the Super League have a 5% deduction, except Barcelona, Real Madrid, and what's the other team? Juventus. Yes.
Wow.
Because Juventus have a stay of proceedings because they haven't officially left the Super League, so they went to court. And the court has instructed UEFA, you can't continue with these proceedings. So they have no punishments. But the 9 clubs who officially left, they have the 5% cut because they had an agreement with UEFA.
Cracker. Ought to be a big club, eh? Ought to be a big club. No matter what you do wrong, you know, somebody else will get the punishment. Somebody else will get it worse. It's absolutely ludicrous for me. I mean, I suppose we could sit here and argue about it till we're all blue in the face, couldn't we? But it's not going to change shit, is it?
Can I ask you a question, Dan?
Yeah, go on.
And I sort of joked about it earlier, and I don't know, in fairness, if the rumours are true and what have you. But when Accrington did go out of business, the rumours were that Bob Lord, the almighty at Burnley, refused to lend the money to save them. Is that just? I mean, I'm not blaming any. What happened, but it was going on even back then, wasn't it? The bigger clubs maybe not helping out the little clubs.
Yeah, I think Joey might know more about that than me. I didn't even know about that, to be honest. I'm not saying, I'm not saying you're a football dinosaur, mate. But at the end of the day, you've got arms like a T-Rex, so you might as well crack on.
It's when the Leicester fan knows more about Burnley's history than the Burnley host. You know?
Oh, I know. Shame. I should walk off centre stage. Just walk off.
With regards to that, from what I'm aware, they did request the help, and Bob Lord, he didn't refuse the loan. I think what he said was, yeah, we'll loan you the money, but I think the repayments were too high, to be honest with you. So yeah, he did obviously play a part in what happened, and thank goodness they backed line. But yeah.
I suppose they got their comeuppance, didn't they? A couple of years back.
Blackburn did help them. So
yeah, we did. Like I said, they turned up outside Turf Moor with buckets for Accrington in the community and things like that, and you know, everybody at Burnley Football Club put their hands in their pockets because, you know, it's not just at the time. Yeah, okay, they were sort of little Accrington Stanley, but now you look at them and the fact that they just this season they were just short of, you know, playoffs for League One. So, you know, they're obviously doing something, and they've got the current upgrades to the stadium going on. So yeah, it's coming up again, Chris. It's coming up. I'm in trouble again. But yeah, it's
told you about swallowing.
Matt, someone's got to do it.
Better to spit, mate. Spit every time.
But yeah, I mean, we'll slightly turn it on to obviously we'll speak about the FA Cup win as well, Chris, while you're here. Might as well.
Any excuse.
Do you think the first main question I have for it, do you think you'll be able to retain it next year?
No. You don't know. I mean, you really, really don't know. But how many clubs have actually managed to win it back to back? It's a cup competition. You know, I mean, it's taken us 50 odd years just to get to another final. It's taken us 170 years nearly to win the bloody thing. I don't think we're going to win it on the trot, unless they're like buses, of course. You don't know. You don't know. I mean, it will be hard, obviously, but there's not. Can be done, but I don't think we will. No.
I think
the Europa League.
I think Leicester can win the Europa League because they've made some very good signings. I think the Lille one, if I'm not, and Odsonne-Edouard, you're close to him. If the Celtic striker, these are very exceptional young players, and Brendan Rodgers will do amazing with them.
Yeah, I think Brendan Rodgers will do amazing, especially with you know, he worked wonders with Odsonne-Edouard at Celtic anyway, and you know, I think it's a steal as well if it's at the reported 11 million or whatever it is. I think that's a steal. To be honest,
I mean, we'll take him. I mean, you know, when you're comparing that or 40 million for Tammy Abrahams, who again we've been linked with. I mean, the thing with Brendan Rodgers is, you know, you look at it sometimes, you think, oh God, these players, they come down from Scotland. Yeah, you know, you and me could, you know, play up front with our crutches, you know, for Scotland and score. But he's had Edouard. He brought Edouard over. He had him for, you know, three seasons or whatever it was he was there. But he also had Benkovic, who's a Leicester defender. Yeah, and he played for 2 full seasons. He was on loan and he was virtually playing every game when he wasn't injured. Brendan's come down to Leicester. We haven't seen hide nor hair with Benkovic near the first team. He's gone out on loan. So, you know, he's not just picking these players because they're from Scotland. Otherwise, we'd have seen Benkovic in every game. But no, I'd obviously love to see it again because that way we can all get to Wembley, which we weren't able to this season. But no, I think winning it 2 years on a trot is a big ask for a club like Leicester.
So do you think you'll focus more on the Europa League and things like that then?
Brendan's got pigeon walking past. Brendan's got a problem with Europe. He's never got past a round of 16.
Wow.
That's as far as he's ever got.
That's a stat in itself, isn't it?
It is. And we were out in that round this season. So he's got something to prove there. So I think it would be nice to win the Europa League. Because it's we've not done it before, and B, it gets you into the Champions League. Doesn't matter where you finish in the league itself. So, yeah, I think we want to do well in Europe. We really do.
Yeah, I mean, good luck to you in it, and hope you go and smash it as for an English side. Moving on to one of Brendan's other former clubs, Liverpool. I mean, you guys had a very unexpected, but
mediocre.
It was a decent run towards the end, and you managed. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to mention it, Chris, because obviously Liverpool stole a march in the end, and got to where they needed to be.
Liverpool should have been there from the start. In fairness,
yeah.
But
I mean,
Chelsea
were the ones. I think Leicester were very unlucky because Chelsea lost that game, I'm pretty sure, against Villa. And if Leicester just kept the lead, they would have qualified for Champions League football.
Yeah, I mean, you guys did pretty well against, I'll even say it, against us. Obviously we were already on the beach at that point anyway. I mean, you'll probably agree with me, Joey, that that Fulham game was pretty much the be-all and end-all, and after that, season were over after that, weren't it? So
it's hard to play football in flip-flops, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, what's your thoughts on your season then, Chris? How did you feel about it, especially how it went and how it ended?
Oh, it was more of an emotional roller coaster because when you guys beat us at Anfield, I was close to tears because it was.
I'm glad you mentioned it.
It was such a painful. It was a painful defeat. I'll be honest, because especially with 83rd minute penalty, that hurt. So I mean, I'm at one point we were 7th or 8th, and I was like, I accepted it. We're not going to be in a European competition, but somehow we frauded third place. So I mean, I can't complain, can I? From being 7th or 7th.
No, definitely not. You and Everton were sat pretty much, battling it out with each other in like 7th, 8th, 9th position, and there were a lot of questions going. Christ, if Liverpool have chuck a couple more games sort of thing, especially at Anfield, there's a chance that top 10 may even be a struggle. But I don't think anybody ever sort of thought that. Not when you look at the amount of quality that you've got in the squad. I mean, I'll throw it to you, Joey, as well. Obviously, the win at Liverpool, yeah, I get that, but it's been an up and down season for us, hasn't it, as well?
Yeah, it's been a difficult season for us, I think. We've had a lot of injuries and obviously not much action in transfer windows for various reasons.
Chris is itching to mention that 4-2 win. He's itching. I can see him just sat there like, go on, mention it.
I'm going to mention something else in a minute, but I'll let Joey finish.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, obviously we're still in the Premier League. That's the main thing. And like starting block from this season, I think, with what's going on with Alan Pace and all the
other. Will you guys actually spend in this transfer window? Because I've never seen Burnley do like even some signings. It's almost.
I think what we spent in last, is it 3 transfer windows?
I know we spent 750k this transfer window. I don't know whether we actually spent all the season before. We did. We brought Josh Brownhill in, I think, in January, something like that.
Yeah, that were a good signing. A good player, very good player.
And before that, I don't know. I think we've not brought anybody in since we sold Jimmy McIlroy to Stoke, looking at the age of our squad.
But guys, we didn't buy anybody in January either, so...
No, I mean, it's like I said to you, Chris, when you asked me on the other day, people were saying that, we got the takeover and, you know, oh, that's it, we're going to see spend, and it didn't happen. But then obviously stories have come out that it was Dash that said, well, I'm not going to bother signing anyone when there's nobody out there with quality to compete with the squad that I've already got. You know, and you can only do
point.
Exactly.
It is a very. There's no point. When we won the Premier League, we went silly, and I think I said this to you on the show. We bought loads of players that I don't think any of them are still with us now. To be honest with you, there's no point in going out and buying. In January, the prices are always inflated. You know, we nearly bought Johnny Evans for 30 million in January, as did Man City, and we got him in the summer for 3 million. You know, I mean, that's an exception, but you know, if you're buying somebody in January, it's because you've got bad injuries and you're desperate, or you need to stay up and you're desperate. And clubs know that. The selling clubs know that. The better business is always done in the summer, like, for example, Leicester buying Tarkowski.
That's not going to happen.
Do you not think it is?
I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen.
See, I said to you, Chris, I'm already sort of resided to him joining you guys, to be fair. I think the thing that got me is that all season we have had chance to sit down and say, look, we've come in January, we're new chairman. If you don't need to leave. Okay, you can have the contract on your terms, whatever the money is that you're asking, sort of thing. It's not an issue. We won't put any sort of clauses in that's beneficial to the club. And if nothing happens or we go down, you know, there's some sort of like release clause that, you know, that's a bit cheaper. That means you can go on and whatever, you know. But
I think that's letting him have his cake and eat it, though, isn't it? And also, if you say, right, tell us what you want, you're going to get other players turning around. Ben, me, club captain, he's going to say, I'm club captain. Why is he on more than me?
Yeah. I totally agree with what you're saying. But I mean, in terms of like, you know, I think majority of what he was wanting was there was that clause in his contract of, you know, oh, okay, we'll give you another like 2-year deal, but we can extend it by a year if, you know, on our say. So we've got that opportunity, not you know, the him himself. And you know, we've had this for years as well. You know, it was like I say, it was linked with what we wanted 50 million, Chris. We wanted from you guys for him, and you literally just went
more than we were prepared to pay for him, definitely. But I think the problem you guys have got is the season that you've had. You know, you were, and I said to you when I had you on, and when I was looking at, I couldn't believe where you were. I thought you'd finish higher than what you actually did, and had Fulham put a decent run together, you could have been in real trouble. And I think that had you finished 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, something like that this season, I don't necessarily, you know, you might have been able to hold on to him. But I think he's looking and going, okay, who are you going to bring in? Are you bringing anybody in? Is the new owner's going to spend money? New owners coming in, is Sean Dyche going to stop? Or sometimes they like to bring their own managers in. So he may look at it and go, you know, a bit risky now. Now, to be honest with you, it has cooled this end as well. And, you know, I think it depends. We do need another centre. You know, we've lost Wes Morgan. We've lost Christian Fuchs. Johnny Evans is getting on a little bit now. And we are in 4 competitions next year. And you've got Europa League Thursday, Premier League Sunday. Johnny Evans, prone to injury at the moment, you know, and he's that bit older. To have somebody with the experience of Tarkowski would be good for us. But we're not going to pay silly money, and I think that's what it's down to. But it has cooled. It has definitely cooled.
Also, I just wanted to ask about one player from Burnley. What's going on with Mbongo? I've seen him play. I watch a lot of under-23s, so I've seen him play for the Burnley under-23s. He's such a good player. I think he's from Sweden.
Yeah. It was a strange one because, you know, when he came in, it was, to be honest, with the way our squad has been, I think he's almost sort of been pushed into that first team setup a bit earlier than expected, due to obviously the injuries we had, the lack of quality we had on the bench when all our strikers were cropped. It were a massive gulf of class when you looked at our bench. It was, something like 3 keepers, 2 defenders, and like, it was just mad. And they were all youth players. You know, they were all second, third choice or youth players. So it's it's been really, really harsh. But he is a good player. Don't get me wrong. I mean, when he came on in some of the cup games, you know, he looked brilliant. He's got that, for a big lad as well, he's got that turn of pace, which you don't expect. You know, with a big lad like that, you expect someone to be sort of a bit static, a bit robotic.
Yeah,
but
yeah, he's like Isak, the other Swedish striker from in Sociedad. He's similar to him. I watched a lot of under 23, so I really like him as a player. I think he scored like 8 goals in like 12 to 13 appearances. That I'm not sure. He's a very. I can't wait to see him play first team football regularly.
No, I mean, I've been looking forward to seeing, from Burnley's youth perspective, it was probably Lewis Richardson. Prior, even when he were about 13, 14, somebody at the club said there's a guy that's coming through the system. One day it will make it. Remember that name. And then there were once, I think it was at Liverpool, where he came on in the dying minutes, I think, for his debut. And you know what? Fair play to him. I was like, oh my God, this is the guy that people were telling me about all those years ago. And you know, it was almost like when they say about a Stoke coming and dropping a baby at the door, and so it was almost like, oh my God, he's here. Not that he's going to be the Messiah and change Burnley's fortunes, but you know, he's still a young lad, and there's a lot of things to go. Just a couple of messages. Hussam, how you doing, mate? Hope you're well. You absolutely effing legend yourself. Richard has come in as well. Hi all, nice to see you, mate. Hope you're well as well. Again, Sam says, Dash is staying, Dan. Congratulations. I mean, cheers. I'm not expecting, but yeah, fingers crossed. You know, the rumours are out there. He's signed a 4-year deal, so I'm as happy as a pig in shit if that's the case. Can't fault it because, you know, I mean, he cemented himself as Mr. Burnley, hasn't he, Joey?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm surprised they still call us Burnley, to be honest with you.
They don't. They call us Dash Ball off at time.
Well, amongst other things.
Well, yeah. Rhymes with your shit. But no, cheers, Mel. Cheers for all the plugs in the comments as well. It's brilliant. If you could, please do like and subscribe. It would mean a lot. We're only a small channel, so I'll hopefully build up a little bit and get there. I just want a final thought from you guys before we probably wrap this up a bit. But where do you think we'll finish next season? And I'll start with Scouse Chris.
Oh, I think Liverpool will finish second or third. I don't expect us to win it with what City and Chelsea are planning in the transfer window. I'm very scared. They've been linked with some very big players.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially, you know, when City have lost Aguero. They're looking for a replacement. As you say, Chelsea are definitely in the market.
They're getting Hakimi. They're linked to Hakimi. They're linked to very closely. So you don't know.
I mean, it'll be interesting, and you know, I think you'd be happy with probably another third finish, especially if, you know, another run in the maybe a run in the Champions League next season as well. Fingers crossed for you guys.
I mean, that's what you're good at. You're good at European competition. That's what you're good at, usually.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what you've been known for, isn't it? You know, European competitions. So you've been doing well the past couple of years, and fingers crossed you do all right in that. Obviously, you can't rule out Leicester, can you? You can never rule out Leicester. They're the surprise package, season in, season out. I know they faltered towards the end a little bit, but fair play to you. Where do you see yourselves finishing, Chris?
To be honest with you, and I'm, like I say, this time, well, next Thursday, I'm doing the prediction show with all my co-presenters, and we've got sort of where we're going to put Leicester, and I've got us as 5th again, because I honestly think Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man United will make up the top 4. I think you've only got to look. I think they'll look at Leicester like they did when we won the Premier League, and say, we're not letting that happen again. You know, I know it had been us or West Ham as well, because West Ham weren't that far off, all credit to them. That was a great surprise after the season they had before. So I think they'll go out and spend money, big money, as much as they can afford to this season. And I think we'll struggle to get in the top 4. But I'll balance that up with having, hopefully, get to the semis of the Europa.
Tell you what, why not? Why not? The sky's the limit for Leicester at the moment, and the togetherness you've got. You know, I think every single team in the Premier League is envious of the togetherness that you've got there, and you know, fair play to you.
It's unreal. I mean, you know, I cry more over Leicester than I do my kids, and you know, watching after we won the FA Cup, seeing those scenes on, and this is what I've said, and it would be the same for you guys if you won it again. And I know you've had, you know, success in the past, but that was obviously.
We need a different manager if we're to do out in cups. Christ, Dash and cups don't mix.
Well, we used to say that with Pro, but you know it means something to us smaller clubs, you know, and say smaller, you know what I mean, though, and. Yeah, it was, but I'll take 5th in European football again. Yes, I would definitely.
100%. Good luck to you for next season. I mean, Joey, Burnley. Where do we start? I mean,
not 5th, that's for sure.
Definitely not. I mean, we'd be getting a nosebleed looking at that position, and probably people would think, "Are you taking the piss?" You could tell you're a unrealistic Burnley channel if we did say something like that. So.
I think we've got a very, very big summer ahead of us, and if we can get just 3 or 4 players in to go straight into T, there's no reason why we can't be looking at 13th or above. Realistically, you know, but a lot does actually depend on this summer.
What would you want at Burnley?
What do I want? A complete revamp, because honestly, some of the players have got glass. I mean. You'll probably agree with me, Joey, that, to be quite honest with you, the fact that we let Robbie Brady go from his contract must, to me, show that we are confident enough to find a replacement.
Yeah. They must have somebody in the park line, I should imagine. They wouldn't have done it otherwise, because the squad's it's probably the smallest in the Premier League, definitely not the biggest.
Yeah.
So I do think that, obviously, like you say, to let him go, they have somebody waiting or they're expecting. So.
No, I'm same as you, though. I am same as you, and I've said it a few times over over podcasts and stuff, that I'd be very happy with 13th. You know, medium place. It's sort of cemented. I mean, we used to be there and thereabouts in the Championship season in, season out, weren't we? And well, say that. Beginning of the season, we'd flirt around the playoffs, and then Christmas had hit us, and we'd end up finishing about 13th.
Always same Christmas, isn't it? As long as I can remember, every Christmas. I don't know what they do at Christmas parties at Burnley, but it's always the same.
I mean, like, what type of player would you need to fix Burnley for a mid-table finish?
I think we're gonna need a striker. We're gonna need a right winger. Someone that's got pace. I think we'll lose.
You could get Elliot on loan, Javier here.
We've not really had a player on loan for a while, have we? I mean, last player we had on loan. No. I think we used to be quite notorious for taking players on loan and then turning them into, you know, full-on transfers. We did it with Trippier. We did it with Ben Mee. The only player that I don't think we did make permanent was a little guy that won a Premier League medal with you, Chris, which was Nathan Dyer.
Yeah,
you know, we had him on loan when he were a youngster at Southampton, and you know he was decent. But we've had players like Alan Marr.
When we had him, to be honest with you, I love the guy.
Yeah, he was decent. He was a really nippy winger as well, weren't he? We're really quick off the shoulder. But we've had, like I say, we had players like Andy Gray up front. We had people like Alan Marr that, you know, their moves became full-on transfers after loan moves.
You had Ian Wright at one point.
Yeah.
And Paul Gascoigne, I remember them days.
Trust me, they were...
Back then, I thought they were good days.
Yeah, I did.
I really did.
They were, for me, it was strange, because I was obviously sort of I was falling into that bracket of falling in love with football, and you know, it was like, oh, yeah, these guys have played for England and they're playing for Burnley. Like, what? It was almost like a huh. It was almost like, you know, when you call a dog's name in front of another dog, and you've got your dog at lead, it's almost like, huh? Like what? So a bit like that, except my ears don't prick up as much, and I don't molt as much. But
I love your comparisons, mate. I really do.
Don't worry, I do piss anywhere I want in the house, though. So you know, everyone's got their crosses to bear.
I had heard.
But no, honestly, thanks guys for coming on. It's been an absolute blast. You know, if you just give your channels a plug. I mean, Joey, you can give your work a plug if you want. Well, you can.
No, right, mate. Thanks. Give the long side a like on Facebook.
Happy days. And yourself, Chris?
Just go on SVT TV, the channel. Like, I help with a lot. Steven's channel, basically.
No problem. Everybody head over there and head over to the long side. And yourself, Christopher. Go on.
Oh, Christopher, my Sunday name. Bloody hell. Yeah, Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and at Leicester TID on Twitter.
No problem. Just a couple of last few comments. There's one for you, Mel. From Mel, not for you, Mel. Yeah. From Mel. Rich says, "Great show. Thanks a lot, mate. Means a lot." Obviously, I just want to finish on the fact that the news that came out of Burnley Football Club today was the loss of a club legend, John Angus, died today, aged 82. Burnley's record outfield appearance holder. He spent his entire career at Burnley and played 521 times for the Clarets between 1956 and 1972.
Yeah, and I think he helped you win your second league title in the 60s.
Yeah, he did. He did. As I say, he only scored 4 goals, but you know, you don't expect any more from a right back, to be honest. Cheers, Mel. Absolutely means a lot. Brilliant, brilliant to have you watching. Thank you very much. So yeah, I'd just like to finish on basically a rest in peace to him. Thanks again for coming on.
Rest in peace. Yeah.
Thanks everyone for watching, and rest in peace, John Angus.
Okay.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now.
To an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share and get involved. Join us next time.